Hi everyone, I'm here with Francesca from ShipBob, and we are going to discuss choosing your fulfillment partner when expanding internationally. So thanks so much, Francesca, for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Alex.
No problem. So my first question for you is, how do you feel the fulfillment space has changed in the last 2 years?
The last 2 years have been really crazy. I feel like fulfillment has changed so much, and every year has been really different. And I hate to talk about the pandemic again, but really, that's when a lot of brands sprung into action. Mostly brick and mortar brands that were selling in stores had to get online to sell through their website, and that was the only way that they can convert customers. No one was going into stores, everyone was shopping online. Now that people are able to shop, there's multiple marketplaces. People are able to shop like their local Target online or pick up in store, and they're able to go in store. It's changed to being offering multi-channel fulfillment. So ShipBob historically has only been focused on e-commerce fulfillment orders. So mostly through a website, where now our clients have asked us, hey, I want to sell on Macy's.com or Target.com. Can you help me with this? Or, oh, I want to be featured on this marketplace. And really now customers are shopping everywhere at every touch point. And it's hard because like I go in stores sometimes I shop on Amazon. Sometimes I need something so fast and I need to pick it up at Target same day. So being able to get in front of new customers at every touch point and potentially be able to capture that customer from being on a marketplace. They purchased your product. It came with a bunch of different products from a bunch of different brands, and they really like your product, and maybe they're going to go to your website now, and you're going to convert that customer into a loyal customer and convert the sale through your website. And then once you have them on your website, you can do email marketing, send them promotions, loyalty programs. So it's being able to get in front of customers and just new customers by being exposed to new customer bases that shop on different platforms and just convert more sales.
So when looking at choosing a 3PL as a business is, vetting which partner that they're trying to go into business with, what are the questions that a business should be asking before they are signing a contract on the dotted line and shipping their goods into this 3PL? What do they need to know about this business that they are working with?
Yes, the first question would be to focus on what platforms and apps is the 3PL already have a direct integration with. So what marketplaces, what platforms, is there apps with a partner company that does something that's related to e-commerce that would also help with customer retention or building your brand? Because that's going to help you figure out, can this 3PL service me now? And then what are the options for scaling my brand in the future onto different channels and using different features? The other question is, where are your warehouses located? Even if you want to start in one warehouse, over time, ShipBob is set up to help you scale your brand by making decisions on where to place your inventory to make fulfillment more cost effective and more efficient. So you can offer 2-day shipping to 100% of the US right now with ShipBob, but in the long run, you start in one location. Maybe you want to move your inventory to 2 different coasts to reduce the time that a product would get there if someone's not opting into 2-day shipping because it's more expensive, as well as the cost of moving that product, as well as if they're going to expand internationally into other regions. Do you want to use multiple 3PLs to service different regions, or do you want to use one 3PL for your whole fulfillment process? So we went over integrations on platforms and apps, warehouse locations, and then also, can you offer customization at scale? And I feel like this is a very hard balance because we can't do everything with customization. Some people get very specific on putting a bow on something or a sticker or folding things a certain way. To scale your brand that way, you have to make compromises to make things more efficient so you can push them out the door faster. But also we have programs in place like offering custom packaging. You can have your product placed in custom packaging, shipped out the door. Custom packaging is the only thing that gets 100% open rate. So you can put whatever you want on there to retain the customer. You can also put in marketing inserts. You can also have us kit an order together. We can also do gift notes now. Even on the shipping label, we can put your brand's name above ShipBob so they know it's coming from your brand. So I think those are the 3 biggest things of identifying like where your brand can scale into, whether it's a new channel or a new region, as well as offer a customized brand experience for your customer, because that's not always going to happen with every 3PL. Or if you were to give your inventory to a retailer, it's just going to go in the retailer's packaging versus your packaging.
I think those I've really broken down nicely in terms of, yeah, what people need to think about, especially looking into the future of their brands and where they're going to be going. Yeah, planning out in advance. So that's great. Thank you. So alongside that, e-commerce sales are actually said to increase by 50% to 7.4 trillion by 2025.
My
So
gosh.
have you, I know it's quite massive. So with all of these, it's really down to small to medium-sized businesses starting to go globally, and because it's a lot easier to go globally nowadays. So have you seen a lot more businesses starting to sell internationally, especially with ShipBob fulfillment centers in multiple different regions?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of small to medium-sized brands going international. The first best step is in the country that you're headquartered in, to decide, are there new retailers and new channels that I can grow on? But the next best step is capturing a new market that's outside of where you're headquartered. So we've seen a lot of brands do that with us. I think the hardest part is when you have to do it on your own. You're very limited to setting up a new warehouse in a new location, or getting carrier rates that are cost effective and competitive to ship internationally. Because I think that's the biggest blocker of capturing merchants internationally, is the shipping cost is expensive and the time is longer than people want to deal with. I'm definitely a last person shopper, or last minute shopper, that I wait till a week or two before I'm going on vacation. I'm like, oh, I need all these things. And you're like, okay, how am I getting super fast? And it's hard because I want to buy from brands that I believe in. Maybe that the products were handmade, or they're sustainable, or there's like some mission that I believe in, but that doesn't always equate to fast shipping. And especially when you're shipping internationally, it's just another monkey wrench in there for a customer to decide, well, this is going to take a little bit too long and is more expensive than the product itself. Like, I'm not going to buy from this until potentially later down the road, where I reevaluate this brand and decide this is still too long and too expensive for me to purchase.
Yeah, I think those are very good points. And I'm one of those people that buy last minute, but also ship, like try to buy from somewhere like Australia, and it takes ages.
Yep.
So yeah, brands, come on over to the UK. So how can a fulfillment provider make international selling less complicated for businesses looking to start going internationally?
I think doing it on your own for small, medium-sized brands poses a lot of roadblocks. You have to set everything up yourself. You have to take orders to a post office yourself, get pre-negotiated rates with the carriers, which you're not going to get great rates because you're only shipping a certain amount of volume. So plugging into a fulfillment provider, a 3PL, that already has a network of fulfillment centers where you could scale into a new region, as well as a tech infrastructure like I was talking about earlier, that maybe only was available to mid-market enterprise level brands who set it up themselves. So you're plugging into an infrastructure and a system that's set up for smaller brands to scale, at least with ShipBob, to scale faster with programs that were only available to brands that could set them up themselves. That take a lot of time, a lot of cost. Sometimes different partners won't work with you unless you're a certain size. So we've kind of opened the door for all these emerging brands to scale and use programs and partners that they wouldn't be able to on their own. So going through how to scale internationally, I'm going to go through what we advise our merchants to do. First is, wherever you're headquartered and you have your inventory with us, start shipping from there internationally. You can ship from any of our locations internationally, and then that'll be DDU, duties delivered unpaid. The next step is to work with our partners at Flavor Cloud that power our DDP program, duties delivered paid, to set up the app. At checkout on your e-commerce website, it's going to give the customer the option to ship DDU or DDP. And it's great just to have that DDP option, because if you're shipping internationally, there's a lot of countries that do check the product no matter what the value of the order is, and are going to make sure duties and taxes are paid. So in the calculator on the checkout, it's going to give them the option to ship DDU or DDP. If they click DDP, it's going to give them the total cost of the product or total cost of the shipping of the product. That includes fulfillment, the shipping label, our costs, as well as the duties and taxes. And then that information is going to be sent to Flavor Cloud to purchase a DDP label, and then they're going to track and manage that order so it goes through customs very easily without a hitch. I think that's the biggest blocker starting out when you're shipping internationally. And this program's new. We launched this in the last year. Converting those customers when customers know that the order could be stopped at the border and delay them getting the order, or maybe it gets lost somewhere. Just having this option is going to convert more customers because they're rest assured that they're going to get their product and everything was paid in advance. So that's the first step. So start growing that volume with DDP shipping internationally, but maybe you want to focus on a specific country or region. So maybe you want to focus on the UK, but you're shipping from the US. Now you're plugging into ShipBob's network of partners, and we have agency partners that specialize in different marketing for different platforms, different social media platforms, as well as certain regions and how to go to market there. So instead of going on Google and figuring it out yourself, which is what we usually have to do to figure out what partners we want to work with, you're plugging into an ecosystem of partners, and we can recommend an agency that's going to help you with a go-to-market plan for that region. So like different marketing, different wording, maybe the packaging has to be a little bit different or have a certain thing on it. So that agency will help you ramp up the volume in that region. And once you've done a consistent amount of volume to that region or country, then it's the next best step to move inventory to that region or that country. Because it's very costly first to freight inventory over. It's been like that for the last couple of years due to supply chain restrictions that no one can control, but also to pay for the storage of your products in another country is costly as well if you're not moving that product consistently and gaining new customers. So once you've consistently ramped up the volume, you can move inventory over there to a new region and then be able to offer faster shipping times to those customers and lower costs because you're not shipping it through DHL or FedEx going across the ocean. And then you're able to convert more customers as well. So we actually had a merchant that did this. They started out with DDP with us, shipping to Canada. They actually just moved inventory into Canada because they were able to ramp up the volume. And these products are workout products that are kind of heavy too. So it is costly to ship it even cross borders from the US to Canada. And they said, since implementing DDP shipping, we have seen a drastic drop in customer support inquiries and a lift of revenue of almost 25%. Yeah, so having DDP as an option first is going to help you convert those customers. Once you convert those customers on a consistent basis, then you're going to move inventory there. And then basically you're servicing customers in that region, and it's going to convert more customers because of reduced time to shipping and as well as reduced costs for shipping as well. So I think that's the reason why you would use a 3PL. To do it on your own is just very complex. And with these DDP shipments, we also have pickups that are happening almost every day at our fulfillment centers where you yourself would have to set up those orders to be picked up or taken to the post office. Everything's just very streamlined, and we have so many merchants doing it that we're able to offer it at a cost-effective rate, as well as just streamline everything together. So instead of waiting like a week for orders to be picked up, which delays it a little bit more, orders are being picked up almost every day, and just keeping that streamlined fulfillment process that ShipBob was built on.
And I love that you've touched on, I think I always like to say, test the market before you go in and invest, like you mentioned, it's a lot of upfront cash to put into entering a new market. So it is really important to make sure that you've tested it and made sure that your customers are there, they're happy, you're building that brand awareness. And I think those are some really good, reasonable steps to get into, trading internationally. So thank you for that. And we talked a lot about tech and tech integrations so far in our conversation. So what would you say is the most essential tech update within the fulfillment space to make for a winning e-commerce business?
I think we're all competing with Amazon 2-day or same day. I definitely do that because I wait till the last minute to do stuff. Like I think about something that I want and I think about it a little bit too long, and then I'm like, wait, I actually need that like right away. And not everyone wants to go on Amazon or is an Amazon shopper. So I feel like the newest thing that we've had was 2-day badging on Shopify as well as Walmart. So this is going to hopefully roll out to more platforms in the future, but on your platform at checkout, or even just on the order itself or the product itself, having 2-day badging, hey, we can send this in 2 days. This is the estimated date of arrival, is super competitive with the Amazons of the world, because people just want stuff fast. So being able to display on platforms that you can offer 2-day shipping and giving an estimated date of arrival, as well as this is more of an operational change, is being able to offer 2-day shipping to 100% of your customers, no matter what fulfillment center you're in. So right now in the US, we can offer 2-day shipping. It could get there 2 days to anyone in the US. You don't have to split your inventory. And then in our international facilities, we have expedited shipping, which is something that's new. So it's around 1 to 3 days. Some of them are 1 to 2 days, but 1 to 3 days to get to that customer. And even though there's not a badge internationally that's saying that right now, you still are able to sell that. You're still able to generate that expedited option to just convert those customers that are looking for something fast. We live in a convenient, I want it now world. I think that's the biggest thing that brands can't do on their own, is set up 2-day shipping and be competitive with marketplaces. So being able to offer that is just going to help you convert more customers, because it's not really a mindset of people are looking only to buy stuff 2-day. It really is just that everything is at our fingertips with food delivery services. We got groceries delivered from 2 different places, like last night and this morning, and just the convenience factor. I think people have really settled into that, and they're too busy to plan ahead, or maybe they think about it but they didn't get to it. So being able just to offer an option for your customers that fit the conveniences of the world is going to help you drive more sales.
Perfect. Yeah. And I think people are starting to expect it now as well. So yeah, I think that's really important. So it's great to hear that you guys can offer such short turnaround times, especially across the US, which is so vast. And yeah, it's so amazing. And my final question for you is really around sustainability. So I'm sure you know, and I'm sure everybody else has seen, that sustainability is such a big trend that's hopefully here to stay going into the future. And so brands are really trying to update their production and their distribution and supply chains to really lessen their environmental impact. So how are fulfillment providers reducing their carbon footprint, and how are you guys actually at ShipBob reducing your contribution to climate change, which can really kind of then benefit merchants as they go to their customers and want to say, hey, I'm actually a sustainable business. How can working with ShipBob, give that benefit to these brands?
Okay, the first thing for a 3PL to think about when trying to be more eco-conscious is what waste is coming into your facilities, and how can you divert that from going in the garbage. So in one facility, we're rolling this out to more facilities in the future. One facility, we've done 90% recycling of the waste that we have in our facilities. That includes poly bags, cardboard, other things that just come in from moving inventory in and out. So setting up those procedures in the facilities that people can recycle them, and they're not just going to the landfill, because poly bags can be recycled. Cardboard can definitely be recycled. It just needs to go through the right channels. The next step is to look at the carbon emissions produced from your warehouse operation. So ShipBob is manually calculating all of the carbon emissions produced from our warehouses and labor. And then through a partner called Pashama, we are purchasing carbon offset credits to put towards forest conservation and anti-deforestation projects, to make sure that, okay, this is something that's unavoidable. At least we're going to make sure that we're doing our best to offset this. So people can do this in their own warehouses. You just have to set up that with the partner and manually calculate it. And then the next step would be for a merchant. Yes, they can say to the customer, yes, we carbon offset everything in the warehouses. But the next step would be, we're just doing what's in the warehouses, looking at the last mile deliveries going to the customer, because those are probably the biggest carbon producers, because maybe they're going freight or going air freight, maybe they're going across country, maybe they're going international across the ocean, and it just produces carbon emissions. And giving the option at checkout for the customer to offset the carbon emissions. So we have a partner called EcoCart that connects up with the e-commerce platform that you're on. And then at checkout, you can give your customer the option to purchase carbon offsets based on where the weight of the product and where the product is going to for your order. And then there, it'll calculate, it's really small. It's maybe like a couple dollars if at most, depending on how big your order is. But then you're empowering the customer to offset their carbon emissions, or you can even encourage them, hey, why don't you make this shipment carbon positive by doubling it up or tripling it up? And all these carbon credits are going to go to conservation projects. So you can cover last mile deliveries. You can even have EcoCart calculate the manufacturing carbon emissions produced, as well as freight going into wherever you're shipping the product for where the warehouse is. And then just like it's the whole life cycle of the product that you're thinking of. And then empowering the customer to do that. But EcoCart also has the option that you don't have to pay yourself. You can give it to the customer, or maybe you want to pay yourself and just say, hey, that we're carbon offsetting all of these shipments. But at the end of the day, I think it's very empowering to have it at checkout and just in the customer's face of like, hey, this is something we care about. This is something that is not going away and we want to address. And a lot of millennials and Gen Zers are looking for this. They're looking for brands that have a mission or are eco-conscious, that want to make changes in the world, and they want to buy from those brands. Yes, they want their stuff super fast. I think there's a hard balance between super fast and believing in that brand and what they're doing. But this is just another thing that drives long-term value of converting a customer and bringing them back by showing them like, hey, you can do good here as well with buying your product. You're buying your product, but you're able to offset the carbon emissions. And another thing for a brand to think about is packaging. What packaging is the product coming in? Can you reduce the amount of packaging that it's coming in? A lot of people talk about like having it in boxes that the label can just be put on instead of putting it in another box. But just thinking about like what materials is your packaging? Can it be recycled? How do you educate your customers on where to recycle, how to properly recycle these packaging materials? Because compostable is something that's super new, and I don't think a lot of people have a grasp on it. You can't just put it you can't just put it in your garbage and expect it to compost. Like, you need to either take it somewhere that does it, or you need to have your own composting system outdoors, or even like I have one that's like a small bin that's electrical, that's using energy to compost it. So it's educating customers on how to dispose of packaging, but just making sure your packaging is eco-friendly. And then the last thing would be, this is something we had set up at ShipBob, is do you have any inventory that you're looking to get rid of? How do you divert that from going in the garbage? And this partner, Givenkind, connects us with different groups that need different types of products. And one example is we had protein bars from a company that they're going to expire soon. We were able, instead of throwing those out, to give it to Givenkind, and they were able to give those protein bars to local food banks that were super excited about the product, because they usually just get like the usual bread, milk, nothing really fancy. And here they have these protein bars that are non-GMO and gluten-free and like premium products that they're able to offer people at the food bank. So they were just jazzed about it. So it's thinking about your product life cycle, like, okay, first we're getting it to us, then we have it in the facilities. How do we get it to the customer? And then what do we do if we have products left over? So there's definitely going to be more things in the future with types of materials your product is made out of, and like how to dispose of it, or is it compostable? I think that's just it. The first thing for a brand to do is not be overwhelmed by this, because it is super overwhelming to think about being sustainable. I think it's taking small steps and just addressing that you're not going to be able to do it all in one sweep. We're all learning together about sustainability and being eco-conscious, and just taking it one step at a time, but just also educating your customers on that this is something you care about, and then steps they can take to live a more eco-conscious life.
Perfect. I think you've laid out quite a lot of actionable things that people can do, as well as what ShipBob is doing to help brands stay true to their own values as well. So I think those are some great places to start. And I've never heard of EcoCart before, and I think that's a fantastic idea to completely offset that last mile delivery. So I love to hear that there's other options out there for businesses to use. And it's like you said it's all going to help in their brand and how they present to their customers. So that's fantastic. So thank you so much for answering all of my questions today. I think you've touched on quite a lot about technology, about trading internationally, choosing the right fulfillment partner, and then how you can even go the extra mile to be sustainably focused or eco-conscious as it is. So thank you so much for joining. And yeah, where can people find you, find information on ShipBob?
If you go to shipbob.com, you can see what we're doing there. We've got a great blog that has a lot of resources on different industries, different topics, even some customer success stories with the different programs that we launched. But we'll put a custom quote page link to this video that you guys can obtain $500 in free shipping credits that can help you onboard with ShipBob if it's the best fit for you.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Alex.